Hey guys, it's Rebecca, and I'm here with Jovi. You guys know him really well. He is the horse that I'm really concentrating on right now, so you see him a lot in the videos. He's my kind sweetheart, as you can tell, just standing in the grass ties. You're calm and sweet. I'm doing a little video inside the barn. It's hot, it's buggy outside. So when I get out there, I'm not gonna wanna talk much. I'm gonna right down to business. So I figured I'd do a little video here as a prep. So we're working on a lot, aren't we, Jovi? He is starting to step up to school, like third level kind of stuff, second, third level. And so he's starting to learn just the beginning baby stuff of like canter, half pass, trot, half pass, stuff like that. He would prefer to go out and work in the fields, wouldn't you? But one of the things that he has to learn is flying changes. And I know I've done flying change videos before with my other guy who knows them really well. But this guy is learning them because if we ever get to third level, he has to have a flying change. No, you don't? Or is it the bugs? So I wanted to talk a little bit about flying changes today because I mean, they're so fun and so cool to ride, but they're usually a big stumbling block for people. So I wanted to give a little prep talk about flying changes. So I think there's two things that happen. Either people are unprepared for them and they just go at it anyhow, or they've been told, don't do the flying changes, you're going to mess your horse up, you're going to teach him wrong, you're going to ruin them, they're never going to have a good change. And so then they're like scared to work on it. And neither one of them are true. Neither one of them are ideal. So what we want to talk about today is a little bit of the stumbling blocks to the flying changes and how to set yourself up for success. So as a rider, you have to make a really realistic evaluation of your skill set. And when it comes to teaching your horse flying changes, there's some things that you as a rider have to be able to do. You have to have an independent seat, legs, hands, right? You cannot have those three aids reliant on one of the other ones because you have to manage the horse's body in order to set them up for the change. Now, it's quite different than when you just go to do a change on a horse that already knows the changes. A horse that already knows the changes, yeah, sometimes you can be a sloppy and they're like, yeah, I kind of know what you want and I know what to do. But when you're going to teach them, you really do have to have full command of your body. So what I tell people is that you have to be able to ride a change, but you also have to be able to keep your horse on the bit and through while you're moving independent parts around on their body. So you have to have that skill set yourself. So it doesn't mean that you've had to have shown through Pre-St. George, but I would say that you have to be sort of that quality of rider before you can then go and teach your own horse changes. I know some people are going to be a little bit upset about that, but it doesn't mean that you've had to have ridden at Pre-St. George, but you have to have the command of your body and the horse's body in order to teach the flying changes. So that means that maybe you've only ridden to third level, but you have the basics there and you have the trainability of your body command and command of your own horse's body well enough. Okay, so that's where I'm going with that. Because there's a couple things that really need to be in place. One, you have to understand the aid for the change and the timing of the change. And that is a lesson in and of itself that we can talk about on the horse. This The other thing that you need is that you need to be able to move the horse's shoulders and haunches around in the walk, the trot, and the canter without it upsetting any other aspect of the ride. So the tempo stays the same, the throughness stays the same, and you have to be able to do that with the horse in order to set them up for the changes. Because every horse is going to be a little bit different. There is no one set way to teach the changes. That's the other skill set. You've got to be able to feel or see what's going on with your horse, and then you've got to be able to adjust them to help them with that. So some horses say they want to run and brace because they get a little nervous about the change in the balance. You've got to be able to calmly ride that on your seat, not pull back with your hands. Okay, so like, say the horse wants to get crooked, you've got to be able to have the balance and the maneuverability to help straighten them in whatever aspect. Some horses, need more flexibility in their lumbar region to do a change, meaning they've got to be able to put a hip in or a hip, in a different place. And so you've got to be able to do that. You've got to be able to, you as the rider has to be able to influence your horse that way. 1 second, let me give him some fly spray. The other thing that you need to do is you need to be able to move their shoulders around at the walk, trot, and the canter also, because sometimes the shoulders are the problem. And all of this while, you have the horse forward and on the bit and through their body. The flying changes really are a testament to how through your horse is in the canter. You have to be able to have really good walk, canter, walk transitions. So for the downward transition, you've got to be able to half halt, keep the horse on the aids, keep the horse supple in their body, get that downward transition. Then you also have to be able to, on a very light aid, get a very prompt takeoff into the canter again. And it really helps. A lot of the foundational work is like true canter, walk, counter canter, walk, true canter, walk. And it doesn't have to be that quick. It can be true canter, 5 strides, walk, counter canter, 5 strides, walk, true, or 10 strides or whatever, but you have to be able to do that. There's about 100 exercises to actually help you teach the horse flying changes. I believe that I came up with a document on the top 10 or the top 20 or something like that many, many years ago. So I will hunt that down and I will put it in the comments below, a link for you to be able to access that. Because there is, depending on your horse's stiffness or their conformation or whatever, some exercise is going to be better for some horses than others. The Baroque horses can be a little more difficult sometimes to teach the changes because they're short and compact, and there's a certain way that you have to approach that than I had to approach my 17-3 hand big warm blood. And sometimes you have to be able to get the shoulders out of the way. Sometimes you have to be able to activate the hindquarters to get the clean change. The biggest thing is you want to take it in those small increments because you don't want to add tension into teaching the changes. So it's not linear at all. It is not exponential at all. You sometimes take, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, realize, okay, wait a minute, I'm having an issue here. I need to take 5 steps back, but then you jump back up those 5 steps again. So it really is, find a hole in their training, fix it, come back to the changes, work on it, find something that needs to be changed or fixed, fix that, come back, and that's the way it is. If you have a horse that has a very difficult canter, it is going to be much more difficult to teach them the changes. So what's a difficult canter? A difficult canter is a very flat canter. A difficult canter is one that is not clear 3 beats. A difficult canter is one that doesn't have a lot of suspension in that 4th beat when they're up in the air. A difficult canter is one that is quick or racing or bracy or too slow. If you can't activate the canter, it's just as bad as if the horse is running in the canter. They're all evasions, right? So we talk about the evasions, which would be speed, inversion, gosh, there's 3, and for some reason I can't remember the 3rd one. Crookedness. They're crookedness. So all 3 of those you have to be able to fix and then come back to the idea of the flying change. So if any of that sounds like, oh, I don't think I can handle that, and your horse is at that place where they really need to start learning the flying changes, I would really find yourself a good trainer to do that for you, but one that understands everything that I just said, and doesn't just promise you that they can put changes on your horse. It is true that you don't want to teach them wrong, and you don't want to teach them badly, meaning making them nervous and making them rush or encouraging them bucking or something like that. It is a very quiet, systematic way to go about it to ensure success in the future, because basically it never ends. As soon as you get a single change, then your sights after that gets really solidified, mind you, not as soon as, but once that's solidified, then your sights are going to be on the tempi changes. And of course, that starts with, hey, can I just get 2 down alongside? And then that goes to 4 tempis, 3 tempis, 2 tempis, and then 1 tempis. So once you start that process, and it is not linear in that aspect either, as far as teaching the tempis. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to tack up, we're going to get on, and then I'll do video 2, and we'll talk about where Jovi is in his training, what exercises I'm doing for him to help him in the canter to prep him for the flying change. And the things that I feel like with this horse that I need to be sure are really done well and really solid before I'm ready to ask him for a change. And then, of course, it's not like, I think one of the things that makes the changes so difficult, it's not like you can come back around and do it again, try again, but it's kind of an all or nothing thing. Either you got it and it was clean, or you didn't get it, or you didn't get it clean. It's not like haunches in where it's like, well, you need a little bit more right there. The next stride you can, do it different. No, it's kind of an all or nothing thing. So that's why the prep work is so important. And when big wig trainers, way bigger than me, because I'm technically an amateur, when they are teaching their horse changes, they've done all the prep work, and it still takes them 3 to 6 months to get really solid changes on a horse. And, you come across the ones that are difficult for whatever reason. Sometimes it can be personality, sometimes it can be anatomical, sometimes it can be their learning style. It can take longer than that. And that's even with, top trainers. So you really need to be patient. You need to go about it in a systematic way. And you need to try, if you're at that place where you're doing the changes and it's kind of hit or miss and you don't understand what's going wrong, I think that's where these exercises that I'll have in the PDF will be helpful, because you can, sometimes what exercise works for one horse does not work at all for another one, and vice versa. And sometimes you just have to start working through the exercises and be like, oh, is this one a good one for this horse? So yeah, the more that you know about the difficulty of what your horse is having, they're lazy behind, or they're getting a little stiff in their lumbar, or they're getting fast in running, or their shoulders are getting bracy or whatever. The more that you know that, the more you know what exercises to work on. But still, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult, and just trying some of them can be helpful. I did it the wrong way. I'll just tell you that. My very first horse, I kind of, oh, big stretch. What a cute little stretch. My first horse that I put changes on, and I kind of had to do it because he was such a difficult horse that I would have had to have sent him. I don't know how I would have sent him away and had somebody else done it. He was hot. He was spicy. He didn't look complicated from the ground, but you got on him. And there were so many people that got on him and just could not ride him at all. And he had a kind of a quirky personality too. And so I ended up being like, all right, I'm going to have to teach him the changes because, I'm the one that kind of gets along with him the best. That was not the most ideal. I did get it done. It did take me a long time. He had not a great quality canter, which did not help. He kind of had he had a 3-beat canter, but he didn't have a lot of suspension in that 4th beat up in the air, because they go outside hind, diagonal pair, inside 4, and then the next beat is up in the air. And he did not have that. He'd go like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or most of the time it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So technically that 4th beat is up in the air. And that made it very difficult along with his personality. But I did get it done. And I did just keep working through all these different exercises. And I did just keep going back to the drawing board and being like, okay, what have we run into? What's the, how can we fix this? But at that point I had ridden, had I ridden some Grand Prix horses and could do 1 Tempies myself. So I, was qualified to ride a change, maybe not qualified to teach a complicated horse a change. So then when I got to my big guy, it was such a much more simpler process. So it was a good learning experience for me, but I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it at all. Okay, so I'll see you in video 2, and we'll see you out in the arena.